How do you go from zero to rich? From zero to rich. Last week, I did a video called From Zero to Rich, and I thought I was going to finish the whole thing. The thumbnail title, you can find it if you want to go back and watch the video, From Zero to $41,375,946. That's what the thumbnail looks like. You're looking at it on your screen right now. After this video today, if you want to see that and you haven't seen it, you can go back and watch that video. We did that video last Thursday. That video has 165,000 views since last Thursday. There's a reason people are watching that. This video is a follow-up to that video. And I'm going to show you, it's a Bible study because of the passage I'm going to read to you. I read last week, but I'm going to read even more of it this week. And then I'm going to pick up where I left off last week, and we're going to keep it moving so that for those of you who are at zero, where I was 10 years ago, I was broke. In fact, I was worse than broke 10 years ago. I was living on borrowed money. I had a good friend who loaned me $4,000 a month, all of 2013, all of 2014, until I got back on my feet. So I was worse, I was below broke. I was negative brokeness-ish-ness, right? And and we went from that to 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and half of 2024, we've generated $41,375,941. And I know because I asked my accountant to send me the exact numbers from the beginning of 2020 to last Wednesday night. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you. I'm going to share with you how in the world did we do that. And I'm not saying you're going to go generate $41 million in the next 4.5 years. But if you will do what I'm going to show you, the likelihood of you generating more, that's so weird. There's somebody back there, and it says, plumbing inspired by James Golden. That's such, okay, anyway, that's a comment on YouTube right now. My dad's name is James Golden, and he was a plumber. So that's fascinating. I don't know who that person is, but I'm so fascinated by that comment because it caught me off guard. By the way, I'm gonna say this. I was talking to my brother Mike yesterday. And I was thinking about, like, where did all this stuff in me come from, this whole entrepreneurial drive? And I can remember when I was 16 years old, and my dad came home from work one day and he said, I'm never gonna work for anybody again. And I'm thinking to myself, well, don't you have to have a job? Well, clearly you don't. He made way more money when he stopped working for other people and started doing the same thing for himself, right? But my favorite story that my dad ever told me about his childhood was when he was a kid, like a teenager, he worked for the circus and he would travel with the circus. And he said, I'm gonna tell you something, boy. He said, yeah, the man came, he told me, he said, look, boy, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna sell this cotton candy. You're gonna sell it for 25 cents and you're gonna bring me a dime. Yes, sir. So he went out, started selling cotton candy. He said, I sold it for $1. I brought the man a quarter. He gave me a dime. I was making more money on his cotton candy than he was. I'm like, I love this man so much. So now y'all know where it comes from. It's in my DNA. Okay. So I'm gonna read a passage of scripture for you. This is what God had Moses say to the children of Israel before they went into the promised land. Now you gotta understand, the children of Israel coming out of Egypt, crossing the Red Sea, is a type, it's a picture of salvation. The children of Israel going into the promised land is not a picture of going to heaven, it's a picture of the spirit-filled life. Okay? So and by the way, when I say spirit-filled, so because there's a whole lot of conversation about that, I'll do a video. Spirit-filled is the same as spirit-controlled. Spirit-filled is not an emotion. You may have an emotion with it, but the definition of spirit-filled is not an emotion. The definition of spirit-filled is controlled by the Spirit. That's why it says, be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. Why? Because wine, when somebody's filled with it, controls them. And the Spirit, when somebody's filled with it, it controls them. Anyway, it's another conversation for a different day. But I thought I'd share that as an aside. And so we're going to read from Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 11 down to verse number 18. Here's what it says. Beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God, in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes which I command thee this day. Lest when thou hast eaten and art full, and hast built goodly houses and dwelt therein, And when thou hast herds and thy flocks multiply, herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast is multiplied. This sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Then thine heart be lifted up, and thou forget the Lord thy God, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt and from the house of bondage, who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, and where there was no water, who brought thee forth out of the rock, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint. That's fascinating right there. He brought water out of a flint rock. A flint rock's job is to create a fire, but God said, I can take something that makes fire and I can bring water out of it. Don't play with me, I'm God. Okay, just want to make sure y'all understand who you're dealing with. And then it says, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, that he might prove thee to do good at thy latter end. And thou say in thine heart, my power and the might of my hand hath gotten me this wealth. But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee the power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which he sware unto thy fathers as it is this day. Now, there's so much in there. I don't have time to read. I want you to wrap your mind around this. It is he that gives you the power to get wealth. Now, I know that a lot of followers of Christ, a lot of church folk, a lot of Christians, a lot of Bible believers, however you refer to yourself, believe that having wealth is inherently wrong. But I am here to tell you, and I want to make sure I say this very clearly so nobody's confused about what I'm saying. That is a satanic lie and a satanic doctrine. The fact that God, the God of abundance, wants his people to be broke is a satanic lie. There's nothing that confirms that in Scripture. Myron, but what about the camel in the eye of the needle? Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. I already did a video on that, so go back and watch it, and then you'll understand the camel in the eye of the needle. But we have to come to the conclusion. Okay, the Scripture says God gives you the power to get wealth. Is God going to give you the power to get something bad? Okay, so whatever the camel in the eye of the needle means, it doesn't contradict that. The Scripture says the blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he hath no sorrow with it. Okay, is God going to bless you with something bad? I can't hear y'all. Some of y'all looking confused. Like, I don't know. I don't know, Myron. Maybe. No. Is God going to bless you with something bad? No. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it. Okay, so whatever the camel in the eye of the needle means, it's not going to mean something that contradicts that. Does God want us to be foolish or wise? You tell me. Wise. Oh, he wants us to be wise. Well, the Scripture says, when you have wisdom, it says, riches and honor are with me. Go read Proverbs chapter 8 and 9. Riches and honor are with me. And then it says, yea, durable riches, that's wealth that lasts, and righteousness. So you can be rich and righteous. Whatever the camel in the eye of the needle means is not going to contradict that. So this whole idea that you're supposed to be broke as a joke and ready to choke just so you can please God is a satanic delusion. And I know that's harsh words, but I'm telling you, see, what people don't realize is the reason we believe that is because Protestantism is the descendant of Catholicism, and Catholicism is the descendant of Roman mythology, which is an offshoot of Greek mythology and polytheism and believing in all these different gods and all this different stuff. And so if you believe a lie, here's the interesting thing about falsehood. Falsehood is going to bump its head on itself eventually. Like lies and falsehood are perpetually self-contradicting. They can't help it. But the truth always says the same thing. So you can't, like, when I'm interpreting the Scripture, whatever conclusion I'm coming to, it's not going to contradict something else the Scripture said. Was Abraham a good guy or a bad guy? He was a good guy. He was the first one God called. He's called the friend of God. By the way, did you know that Abram, before his name was changed to Abraham, is the first person in the Bible God said was rich? Not Nimrod, not Lamech, not Pharaoh, Abram. By the way, it didn't just say he was rich. Genesis 13:2, and Abram was very rich. God didn't just tell us that he was rich. He told us how rich he was, very rich. And then it told us how he was rich. He was very rich in cattle and silver and gold. So you couldn't say, but that's not talking about money. Well, cattle, silver, and gold, pretty much assets. Okay, just want to make sure You understand? Like, whatever it means, it's not going to contradict that. So y'all tracking. Okay. So remember that it's the Lord thy God that giveth thee the power to get wealth. God doesn't give you the power to get wealth because he wants you to have a new Lamborghini. He's not opposed to you having a new Lamborghini if that's what you want, but that's not why he's giving you the power to get wealth. He's not giving you the power to get wealth just so you can live in a mansion. He's not giving you the power to get wealth just so you can have bank accounts full of money so you can go look at it every now and say, my pile got bigger. God gives you the power to get wealth to establish his covenant, which he swore unto your fathers. God gives you the power to get wealth for him, not for you. Don't be confused about it. Okay, so now that we're all on the same page, up to speed, where do we find this power? Well, we talked last week about the power of pain. They were in bondage for 400 years. That's pretty painful. He led them through this great and terrible wilderness. That's pretty painful. We talked about the power of purpose, and we talked about the power of perception. Today, we're going to talk about the power of proficiency. Proficiency, what does that mean? That means being good at something. And the arenas in which you have to become proficient if you're going to go from zero to rich are very, very specific. And I'm going to tell you what they are. But before I do, I'm going to write something on the board. And by the way, this is not an original Myron Golden quote. So if you quote me, make sure you tell them where I got it from, okay? And this is a saying. I got this from Daniel Priestley, the author of Oversubscribed, the author of Key Person of Influence, the author of 24 Assets. He said, I think it was in 24 Assets. He said, white markers look better on blackboards than red markers or green or whatever color that was. Okay, he said, income follows assets. Income follows assets. Okay, so income follows assets. So where do assets come from? Okay, I'm going to give it to you. Ready? Everybody ready? Yeah. MS times SS times TS equals assets. Now, if you don't have any assets, then you don't have much money. And if you don't have any assets, either your MS is missing, your SS is missing, or your TS is missing. I'm going to talk to you about what those are. So what's MS? MS is mindset. Mindset. Mindset times skill set times tool set equals assets. I didn't get that part from Daniel Priestley. I actually thunked that up all on my own. I sit there one day, I said, I declare. Right? So mindset times skill set. You need, in order to create wealth, to go from zero to rich, you need a proficient mindset. Your mindset needs to be good enough to do that. By the way, anybody here, anybody watching on YouTube, you can develop a proficient mindset. Okay, now, a proficient mindset begins the same place that all mindset begins. You need to be proficient in your awareness. Proficient in your awareness. Awareness of what? What does that even mean, proficient in your awareness? Have you ever met somebody and your thought was, wow, I've never seen someone so clueless? Have you ever, you meet somebody, they're an adult, and you're like, as clueless as you are, how did you live this long? Right? Have you ever met somebody like that? I'm not being mean, but we've all met some people like that, right? And the people who succeed in doing anything have a higher level of awareness in that discipline, in that thing, than people who struggle at it. It all begins with awareness, right? And so we have to become aware of principles. We have to become aware of how things work. We have to become, because if I'm not aware of how things work, I'm going to attempt to work them in a way that they don't work. Right? That's why one of the things when I'm teaching people about business, since business has to do with other people, and the money that you desire to make is already, like all the money that you desire to have and don't have right now, it's in somebody else's pocket, somebody else's bank account, right? So in order for them to hand it over, you have to become proficient in working with human nature to give people something they desire more than they desire the money they're going to pay you, right? But in order for that to happen, you have to become aware of, number one, the principle that the money is there. Like, oh, there's just not enough money to go around. No. There's plenty of money to go around. There's plenty of resources. We don't lack resources, we lack resourcefulness. Right? Resources are attracted to resourceful people. And resources are repelled by people who are not resourceful. And so you have to develop an awareness. So my awareness of business principles is greater than people whose businesses struggle. And it's not because of me. I mean, I've done work, but you have to understand, every good thing and every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. So even if you're good at something, you're good at it because God gave you the ability to be good at it, so you still have to be grateful. Pride is always a problem. Why? Because everything's a gift. That's an awareness. right? And see, some people forget that everything's a gift, and they think, well, by my own power and by my own might, I'm just so smart and just so good at business. I'm such a good talker and so good at sales. And by the way, if you didn't know it, man, I'm really great at building business. Well, that's a gift. That's right. It's all a gift. And if you don't recognize that it's a gift, you won't be grateful for it like it's a gift. And so you'll go through life thinking you got all this blessing because you deserved it. Well, there is some level of meritocracy in what you've accomplished. But man, there was a whole lot of blessings that led to that meritocracy. A whole lot. Like a whole lot of stuff had to go right for you to get as far as you've gone. I wish I had some helping hand. And so we have to make sure that we maintain an attitude of gratitude for the gifts that we've been given. So I've read the story 1,000 times. I think I even read it last week, so I'm not going to read it to you today. But the story about Hagar. And Abraham sends her out into the wilderness, and the wilderness is the desert, with a bottle of water and a loaf of bread with her son, who's also his son. And she ran out of water, and she puts her son under a shrub because it's hot. And then she goes about a bow shot away because when he dies of thirst, she doesn't want to watch it. And she's crying. And then the angel comes and asks this strange question. What you crying about, Hagar? That's such an odd question. What aileth thee, Hagar? A woman in the desert with a child, no water, and you going to ask her why she's crying? I don't know. It seems fairly obvious, and I'm not even an angel. But maybe the angel didn't ask the question because he didn't know the answer. Maybe he asked the question so that we could learn the answer. Because the things that were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scripture might have hope. What aileth thee, Hagar? And then he said, fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. And fear not, go pick up the lad. God's going to make him a great nation. And then it says, and God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water and gave the lad drink. Okay, it didn't say, let's wrap our mind around. This is, by the way, for those of you who want to read the story, if you're on YouTube, it's in Genesis chapter 21. So, it didn't say God dug a well. It didn't say that God sent some well diggers to dig a well. It said God opened her eyes and she saw a well of water, which tells us what about the well of water? It was what? Already there. She didn't lack access to the water. She lacked awareness of the access she had. Why is that in the Bible? Because just like Hagar, who could not see the water, the well of water in front of her eyes because of the water that was welling up in her eyes, sometimes we are so focused on what's not in the bottle that we miss the well. We think that because it's not where I'm looking, it doesn't exist. Hey, look somewhere else. Stop looking where it ain't and start looking where it is. See, the problem, like we don't perceive ourselves as people who lack awareness because we are aware of what we're aware of. And our awareness of what we're aware of makes us unaware of what we're unaware of. Because I know the things I know keep me from learning the things I don't know. That's why it says, over in Hosea, it says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. It wasn't that they couldn't know that they didn't know. It was that they wouldn't know that they didn't know. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. How do I know that? Because the next verse tells us, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. Why would somebody reject knowledge? Because they think they already have it. Thinking that you already know is the biggest hindrance to learning that has ever existed on the earth. Sometimes our sight makes us blind. Why? Because we can see what's missing. And when we can see what's missing, it causes us to miss what's there. You want to have a proficient mindset? Ask God to open your eyes and make you more aware of what's already there. That's right. Because I promise you, there's no opportunity missing. Opportunity is not what's missing. Say, Myron, you don't understand where I live. There's no opportunity here. Well, in places where there seems to be less opportunity, that's where the greatest opportunity is. Why? That's the principle. Where sin did abound, grace did much more abound. What is sin? Sin, the word sin means to shoot an arrow. Anybody else love archery? I love shooting bow and arrows. I just love it. Anyway, you shoot an arrow at a target. Sin means the arrow doesn't just miss the target, it falls to the ground before it reaches the target. It comes up short. So in any arena of our lives where sin did abound, grace did much more abound, in any area of our lives where something's coming up short, grace is a gift. There's an opportunity there for a gift that's so much greater than the falling short. We have to ask God to open our eyes so we can see what's already there. Awareness. You have to become proficiently aware of the way things work. You have to become proficiently aware. Now this awareness right here, this is the awareness that changes the game. You have to become more aware of what's missing in the lives of the people you serve than you are aware of what's missing in your own life. See, your problem, one of the reasons your business isn't doing well is because you're so focused on making your business do better that you're not focused on making the lives of the people you serve better. You're looking to use them to make your life better. So you're seeking to use people to serve your purposes instead of seeking to have God use you to serve their purposes. It'll change the game. But you don't have awareness. Like you're not proficient enough in your awareness to realize that you have been put here to please God and serve people. Like, do you understand? If you become obsessed, if I become obsessed, if we become obsessed with pleasing God and serving people, pretty much all of our problems will eventually go away. That's the whole purpose. That's why I was created. I was created to please God. I was created to serve people. It's interesting that when I serve people, that happens to please God. This is not hard stuff. It's just different stuff than what we're used to. It's just different stuff than what we've been told. No, nobody ever told you, hey, you want to build a really, really, really successful business that makes millions and millions and millions of dollars? Go obsess over a whole bunch of other people's problems more than you obsess over your own. Find an elegant solution. Let them know you have it. Give them the opportunity to pay you, and you can create wealth beyond your wildest imagination. But you're so focused on trying to make the money that you forgot the money is in somebody else's pocket, and they don't like you enough to just hand it over to you, so you better go solve their problem. Okay. If God gave you a child or children, he gave you that child or those children so you can serve them. If God gave you parents, he gave you those parents so you can serve them. If God gave you friends, he gave you those friends so you can serve them. If God gave you a husband, he gave you that husband so you can serve him. If God gave you a wife, he gave you that wife so you can serve her. God brings people into your life. If God gave you a job, he gave you that job so you can serve that business and the clients that business serves. If God gave you a business, then God gave you employees, he gave you those employees so you can serve them. And if you're seeking to do something other than please God and serve people, you are wasting your time here on this planet. Okay. Just thought I'd share that in case anybody was interested. Okay. So, you have to become proficient in your awareness. Now, you have to become aware of what people's needs are, what their desires are, the things they desire. And then you have to become aware of how to put it in a message, how to put your transformation in a message that is appealing to them. See, your problem is you wrote a book and you want people to care about it. Nobody cares but you and your mama. And she'll buy the book because you're her baby. But she don't want to read it. She was there when it happened and she didn't like it that much the first time. But nobody else is going to buy your book because they want to know your story. I just want to write a book about my story. No one cares. People want you to write a book that solves their problems. They don't want you to write a book so you can tell them your story. They don't care about your story. They don't care about my story. They don't like you that much. They don't like me that much. And the more aware I am of the fact they don't like me that much, and the more aware I am that the thing that I got to be talking to other people about is their problem, and the solution that I've created, when I realize that this book is not the book is not the value. This book that I wrote is not valuable unless it is the transportation of a transformation. What does that mean? If this book does not carry in it something that changes your life for the better, you don't care about it. You might as well just chuck it in the trash. You want people to care about your book. You want people to care about your product. You want people to care about your service. Nobody cares. People are zoned into their own thing. And what's really cool, do you realize if you become a person who obsesses over other people's problems, you'll be probably in the 1%. I'll say in the 5% of people whose lives are blessed because you obsess over other people's problems. Almost nobody does it. So there's almost no competition in obsessing over other people's problems. Like, I don't have any competition. Why? I don't have any competition because I'm me, and not because nobody else obsesses, but nobody obsesses over solving other people's problems in the way that I obsess over solving other people's problems with the methodologies that I use, so I have no competition. But guess what? Neither do you. You need to become more aware so you can become more obsessed. Okay, so aware of their problems. Okay. You have to become aware of a solution, because if you're aware of the problem and you can't solve it, it doesn't matter, right? So awareness is where it begins. When you become aware of something new, it's decision time. And see, some people have pretty decent awareness muscles and very atrophied, weak, and pathetic decision-making muscles. Most people are not good at making decisions. They flip-flop around like a fish on the sidewalk in July. From, I'll do this, I'll change my mind. I'm not. The word decide is not the same as the word choose. The word choose means pick one. The word decide, of or from, side, to cut. You cut yourself off from any other possibility. You tracking? So when you decide to do something, you become aware of an old truth that's new to you. You make a decision to get on a new path that you've never been on. And then you decide to stay on that path regardless of how it feels when you first get on it, because when you decide to get on a new path, disruption always follows intention. So you make a decision. So you become proficient in your awareness, you become proficient in your decision making. People who succeed make the decisions very, very quickly and change them very, very slowly. People who struggle make decisions very, very slowly and change them often. People say, hey, Myron, I'd like for you to do X, Y, and Z. And I'll just, I am not nice, so I'm not going to say, okay, I'll think about it. Like, if I know the answer is no, I'll say that's not going to happen. Like, I'm just like, no, that's not going to happen. Well, but you might change your mind if you knew. Nope, I'm not going to change my mind. What you think I haven't thought about, I already thought about it, and the answer's already no, right? And so I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to drag them along and make them feel like eventually I'm going to say, yeah. It's a 2-letter word, bro. N-O. Which one of those letters are you having a hard time with, right? No, it's a decision. Like, you cut yourself off from any other possibility. And when it's yes, it's a yes. It doesn't, well, but you don't understand what you're going to have to go through. It doesn't matter. I've already decided yes. Right? Okay. So you need to become proficient in awareness, and then you need to become proficient in making decisions. Because after you become aware of an old truth that's new to you, now you have a decision to make. Am I going to keep on doing things the way I did them before, or am I going to do this new thing? And by the way, when I start doing this new thing, when I decide that I'm going to start doing the new thing, the new way, new to me, now I've decided to engage in an activity that I know I'm not good at, and it may take me a while to get good at it. Yeah. See, I got started in sales October of 1985. I was terrible. And I kept doing presentations anyway. How long did you do them? Well, kept doing them long enough to make a sale. It only took me 18 months to make my first sale, but I kept doing presentations anyway. Why? Because I decided. I didn't choose to be an entrepreneur. I decided to be one. And see, one of the reasons some of you can't succeed is because you don't make decisions and you have too many options. And so when the first thing doesn't work, you go to the next thing, or when it doesn't work for you, you don't let it work on you until you become the person for whom it can work. Because as we know in the scripture, all work works, right? Isn't that what it says? In all labor there is profit. So all work works. Work is a two-sided coin. It either works on you or it works for you. And you have to be willing to let the work work on you until you become the person for whom it can work. I'm not smarter than you. I promise you I'm not smarter than you. I've just let the work work on me longer than you. I'm not better than you. I'm not more talented than you. I've just let the work work on me longer than you've let the work work on you. I let the work work on me when it didn't feel good. I let the work work on me when other people were thinking, this dude is delusional. He should probably go do something else. I let the work work on me. I let the work work on me when I was broke. I let the work work on me when I was struggling. I let the work work on me when everybody was saying no. You've got to let the work do what only the work can do when it's not working for you because it's working on you. Otherwise, you'll never become the person who deserves to have it work for you. So you make decisions, and then after you make your decision, then you have to become proficient in your intention. So in your intentions, what does intention mean? So after you make a decision, now you intend to do something. So I believe that the biggest common denominator of success in successful people is they hyper-focus on intention and they ignore distraction. The biggest common denominator of people who struggle is they hyper-focus on distraction and ignore intention. Like if you just become proficient at one thing, it'll change your life. If you just become proficient in being intentional, intentionality, like I've already decided to do this, so I know that whatever else I'm going to do, it's not going to stop me from doing this, right? That's what I mean when I say intention. So, Myron, how would you define intention and how would you define distraction? I would define intention as anything I focus on that moves the needle in my favor. So when I'm focused on something that causes the needle to move in my favor, I'm being intentional. I would define distraction as anything I'm focused on that doesn't move the needle in my favor. That's why people who are successful hate small talk. They don't want to talk about the weather. They don't want to talk about the basketball game. They don't want to talk about the golf tournament. They don't want to talk about anything that doesn't matter to their objective, to their awareness and their decision. If it does not make the decision I made work better, and my awareness, it doesn't make my awareness more clear, and it doesn't move me closer to my objective, I don't want to talk. Why are we talking about this? And then people who love small talk, they'll say, yeah, I was talking to my cousin last week. My cousin on my mom's side, I don't know their cousin or their mom. Why are you giving me this detail? Like, I don't say it, but I'm thinking to myself, this is way too much detail about something that I don't even know why we're having the conversation. You want to tell me that it's your mom's cousin, it's your cousin on your mom's side. It's my 35-year-old male cousin on my mom's side who has red hair and went to school for engineering. What? What are you talking about, bro? Or they want to talk to you about the news. Oh, did you see what happened on the other side of the world? No, I didn't. I don't watch the bad news. I don't watch the bad news on constantly negative news, CNN. I don't watch the news on slides of Fox News. I don't watch the news on Always Be Critical, ABC News. I don't watch the news. Myron, how will I know what's going on in the world if I don't watch the news? Can I ask you a better question than that, baby? If you can't fix what's going on in your world, what you going to do about what's going on in the world? Put your oxygen mask on first. Make sure you and your babies can breathe while you're worried about what's going on the other side. I'm not saying don't care about those people. I'm not saying don't pray for those people. I'm just saying, like, fix your problems. I didn't have a television in my house until my kids were teenagers. Why? I didn't want to watch other people live their dreams while we were living a nightmare. Not happening. Not happening. I don't care what's going on in the world. I mean, I care, but not enough to fill my brain with problems I already can't solve. I'm having a hard enough time solving the problems I can solve. I'm going to waste a bunch of energy on stuff that I can't do anything about? I ain't doing it. Okay. You know, it's an election year. Everybody's going to get all up in arms about who's going to win the election. Blah, blah, blah. I am fully persuaded that I am not fully persuaded that elections do anything other than distract people from doing things that matter in their lives. Now, I vote, so before you start judging a brother, just in case it works, even though I think it does nothing other than distract us. In case it works, I do it. But I'm not going to get all up in arms, and I'm not going to argue with you about Donald Trump and Joe Biden and whoever else, Hillary Clinton and whoever else is going to be pulling off their shenanigans. I'm not going to have an argument with you about it. Why? Because it don't matter. Because promotion doesn't come from the east or the west. Promotion comes from above. And the person who's going to be president is whoever God puts on the seat. Whoever God has ordained before the foundation of the world to be president, that's who's going to be president. And guess what? They still are not the King of Kings. Okay. Anyway. So I'm going to focus on the King of Kings. Let y'all worry about the president. I'm going to focus on being one of the kings. Mm-hmm. I'm worried about them being president. I'm worried about me being the king of my thing. Okay. Anyway, don't want nobody to be confused. Who you dealing with? So you need proficiency in mindset, in awareness, mindset, proficiency in decisions. Mindset is awareness, decisions, intention. Awareness, decisions, intention. Like if you get there's other things in your mindset, like expectation is a part of mindset. I get that there are other components, but if you can get awareness, Like if you can ask God to open your eyes and just show you what's already there in front of you that you could take advantage of. If you just pray every day, dear Lord, open my eyes today. Help me to see the opportunities before me. Help me to see the opportunities to serve other people. Help me to see the opportunities to serve, to please you, and help me to take advantage of every one of those opportunities. And then you become more, because you're praying and asking God to open your eyes, you become more aware of those opportunities to serve and those opportunities to please God. What happens is your life will start getting incrementally, exponentially better. Okay. And then you make decisions. And when you make your decision, you cut yourself off from any other possibility, and then you set your intention and only focus on things that move the needle in your favor. That is skill set. So, I said at the beginning of this video, mindset, MS times SS, skill set, times TS equals assets. Skill sets. I was going to cover it next week, but I'm going to cover skill sets right now. You have to become proficient in your skill set. So in business, there are 3 functions of business. And in those 3 functions of business, you must become proficient. Are y'all ready? Let me hear you say yes. Yes. This is how you go from 0 to rich. Okay? Here it is. Number 1, innovation. Innovation. You have to become proficient in innovation. What is innovation? After you discover, of the problems that other people have and you obsess over them, then you innovate or you create an elegant solution. And if you can't create an elegant solution, you find somebody who's already created one and promote that one, right? So innovation is the first function of business. What is innovation? It's when I create or source or partner with somebody who's solved a problem in an elegant way for a large group of people. That's innovation. That's the first skill set. By the way, you want to become good at innovation? There's a great book on innovation. You can find it on my website or on my Amazon storefront, myrongolden.amz.com, myrongolden.amz.com. You can find it there. It's called The Innovation Secrets of Steve Jobs. It will be one of the best books you've ever read. It was written by Carmine Gallo. Has anybody here ever read that book, Innovation Secrets of Steve Jobs? Game changer. Game changer book. And it shows you how Steve Jobs was able to transform all of these different industries with his innovative process by seeing connections between seemingly unrelated things. Mind-blowing book. So innovation, that's the first one. Second skill, marketing and sales. I know a lot of people say sales and marketing, but when you say sales and marketing, you're saying it backwards, right? It's marketing and sales. Marketing happens before sales. So I'm going to give you the definition of both. You must become proficient at these. Marketing. Marketing is the art and science of discovering and developing in other people. It's the art and science of discovering and developing in other people a desire for more and more of their product, more and more of your product, your service, or your opportunity. So again, I'm going to say it again. Marketing is the art and science. Okay, it's art because it's how it makes them feel. It's science because it's measurable. So it's the art and science of discovering and developing in other people. Now, how do you discover and develop something in other people? Well, you discover something in other people by asking them questions. And then you develop in other people a desire by showing them that you've already solved the problems of the content that you've received from them. So I talk to them about stuff they care about instead of stuff I want them to care about because I care about it. I show them that I care about what they care about instead of attempting to get them to care about what I care about, right? So marketing is the art and science of discovering and developing in other people a desire for more and more of your product, your service, or your opportunity, okay? Everybody got it? So that's marketing. What's sales? Sales is uncovering the value of what you have to offer so well that people are happy. They're what? They're happy. They're what? They're happy to exchange the money they have in their pocket for the value you've revealed. Uncovering the value of what you have to offer so well that people are happy to exchange the money they have in their pocket for the value you revealed. Now here's what's interesting about sales. Sales has nothing to do with price. Price is just price. If the value is there, the price doesn't matter. Like, everybody do like this. Everybody hold your arms out like this. Repeat after me. When the value is this big, and the price is this big, they always buy. Now here's what's cool about that. It doesn't matter what number you put in here. As long as the value is this big and the price is this big, they always buy. And so my objective is to obsess over other people's problems so much that when I present the value to them, it's this big. And then when I give them the price that's this big, they say, well, I'll take that. And we have clients that say yes to this, even when this price is $1 million a year. They say yes to this, even when the price is $350,000 a year. Why? Because the value is this big. Okay? So uncovering the value of what I have to offer so well that people are happy to exchange the money they have in their pocket for the value I've revealed. That's selling, right? So that's the second part of skill set. Skill set number one, innovation. Skill set number two, marketing and sales. They're like two legs. You walk with two legs, not one leg, right? So they're two legs on the same person. Marketing and sales, marketing and sales, marketing and sales, right? Then the last skill set is money management. Okay? Yes, you have to do fulfillment and all that stuff, but that's part of delivering value. So I'm not gonna talk about that right now. You gotta be good. Like the thing you're selling people, you better be good at it. Right. Otherwise you're stealing, you're defrauding people, you're cheating people, right? So if you're making somebody a promise, make sure that you can fulfill the promise elegantly, efficiently, speedily, and then the last part of skill set is money management. There are a lot of people out there who make a lot of money and they're just broke at a higher level. You know why? Because they're not good at managing money. You have to manage your money in such a way that the outgo does not exceed the income, so the upkeep does not become the downfall. Our business does very well. My business is way richer than me. Right? Why? Because I pay myself a salary. And I don't pay myself a ridiculous salary. I pay myself a very, very modest salary. I pay the people on my team very well, but it's a modest salary. Why? Because I want the job to last for a long time. And I've played really close to the edge before when I thought I was a baller and lost everything. And I will never do that again, because when I lose everything, I don't just lose everything for me. I lose everything for me and everybody on my team, and I'm not willing to risk that. I would rather live in a smaller house. I would rather drive less elegant vehicles. I would rather not live an extravagant lifestyle and still be able to support the people that help me support the people that I serve. So, the value of innovation, marketing and sales, and money management can change your life. Now, I want to go into the tool set. I don't have enough time this week. So we're going to pick up where we left off next week, and we'll do Zero to Rich Part 3. But I'm telling you, when you learn these skills, they will change your life at another level. So for those of you on YouTube, just to add to the value of this video, I'm pretty sure we don't have a video already scheduled for this coming Sunday. So right before this live, I recorded a video called How to Close Premium Value Offers, right? Or how to sell, I don't remember what I called it, but what is it? One-to-one. How to close big sales one-to-one, right? So I'm going to release that video on this Sunday, how to close big sales one-to-one. So for those of you who have a premium value offer, like a $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, $300,000, $1 million offer, I'm going to show you how to close those sales one-on-one. Like if you get on a closing call or on a Zoom call, how do you close those sales? I'm going to release that this coming Sunday because it matches what I'm talking about right now, and that would be a good video for you. And if I don't release it on Sunday, I'll release it on Monday. But no, I won't release it Monday because Monday's live. So maybe Monday I'll do this next part of this video. That'll be fun. So in the meantime, in between time, use these principles, study these principles, obsess over other people's problems so that you can create an elegant solution. And when you do, you can go from zero to rich. Hope this helped you. Stay blessed by the best, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now. Okay.